Good morning, children. Welcome to science class. So, in science, we are learning the 18th block, which is friction. Yes, so we have learned that friction is a contact force. Yes, and also the friction is nothing but the force acting opposite to the direction of motion of an object. Yes, and also we have learned that friction depends on the type of the surface. That is, if the surface is rough, then the friction is more. If the surface is smooth, then the friction is less. That's what we have learned, isn't it, children? So, coming to the third topic, we are going to learn about the advantages and disadvantages of friction. Okay, so please open your science content book, children, and turn to page number 113. 113. Okay, so there you can see the picture of a leg, isn't it? So here it is stating that friction helps us to walk. Because of the friction we are able to walk. If the floor is wet, then the friction will be less. That's why we will fall down on the floor when the floor is wet. If it is dry, the friction is more, and because of that friction we are able to walk on the floor. Okay, if the friction is less, for example, if the wet floor is wet, then the friction will be less, where we cannot walk and we slip. Okay, we will fall down, isn't it? So now turn your page to 114, 114. So there you can see that advantages of friction is holding your pen or pencil. So because of the frictional force only we are able to hold a pen or pencil to write. It might be not only pen or pencil, anything to hold it. The friction force is helpful to us to hold it. Okay, and because of that frictional force only we are able to write something, because the frictional force is the pen or pencil is leaving a mark on the paper. Okay, and because of the frictional force is we are able to match a matchstick. When you have to start a fire, you use your matchstick, and what you'll do with the stick and the box, you will rub against each other and the fire will come out to the stick and you will fire will be started, isn't it? You can lit that fire. Yes, so that is also because of the frictional force. Okay, and friction also helps us when we are driving a vehicle. The brake which we apply to the vehicle, and that brake acts the frictional force between the road and the tires, where the friction becomes less and the friction becomes more, and that we can stop the vehicle. Okay, so in this way friction helps us in our day to day life. But also we have some disadvantages because of the friction, like when a ball is rolling. Okay, when the ball is rolling, the frictional force stops that ball. Okay, and when we are cycling, not the vehicle, children, not the automobile, bicycle, when you ride a bicycle, and this frictional force makes us to put more effort to ride a bicycle. Okay, along with that, because of the frictional force, the soles of our shoes, okay, the bottom of our shoes will wear out. Okay, you can see the for some shoes, there there'll be some holes on the soles, on the bottom of the shoe or your slippers. You can see small hole. Yes, that's because the frictional force. Okay, and we are using continuously that shoe, that slipper. Because of the frictional force, it gets worn out, it becomes wear out. Okay, and in the same way in the machines also, if the machine parts are used for very long period of time, then the machine parts will get wear and tear. That's because of the continuous frictional force acting on them for longer period of time, then those machine parts becomes wear and tear. Okay, so in this way there are many more advantages and disadvantages because of the frictional force, children. Okay, so I want you to read this advantages and disadvantages of frictional force in your content book, and underline the keywords which I have given in the daily schedule, and along with that, read them, write it in your classwork. And if you have any word which you cannot read, or you cannot pronounce, or you cannot spell it without seeing, then underline that word also, write it in your classwork and learn them. Okay, coming to your question answers. How is frictional force useful? So frictional force helps us to hold a pen, helps us to walk, helps us to write, helps to stop the vehicles when applying, when brakes are applied. So all these you can write it down. Okay, write this answer in your classwork and please learn it. And there is a question here. Lata was mopping the floor. So the floor was wet, she was mopping the floor. She told her children to walk carefully on the wet floor. How does this relate to friction? So on the wet floor, friction becomes less, and if there is less friction, we cannot walk, we slip. So that's why she told her children to walk carefully. So friction is less on the wet floor. Due to this, the foot or the shoe does not hold the floor tightly, so one can slip. Okay, so write these two answers in your classwork and please learn it, children. Coming to your homework, learn the keywords and question answers till topic 3 of this block. Okay, you don't have any volume book for this topic, children. Okay, learn the keywords and question answers for your homework. Okay, so in the next class we will learn how to reduce the friction. Okay, so see you in the next class, children. Bye.